Today's webinar is all about investing in female women well-being, and it's based on a white paper we've recently produced with some of our clients, Fortune 500 companies based in the UK. And this white paper on the future of work, which we produced, was featured by Forbes. So we're really proud of that. Hi, Ebony, from the north of England. Which place, Ebony? Slight south from you in Surrey, working in public sector. Awesome. It's lovely to have you here, Kat. Thanks for sharing. So a little bit about myself, guys. I'm Alexandra Kafka. I'm the founder and CEO of Oxygen, a corporate well-being architect, and I'm a former PR executive. I used to work in the corporate world before, and maybe this is the reason why I'm so passionate about employee well-being. For the last couple of years, I have traveled to over 40 countries all over the world with one single mission in mind: to hack sustainable high performance via evidence-based well-being tools. So I spent time in Cambodia, in Philippines, in Thailand, in Buddhist monasteries, mindfulness centers, and then back here in the UK, doing some work with some big non-profits in mental health, such as Mind. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this non-profit. In the next 30 minutes, I would like to walk you through some key challenges among women at work and the 3 best practices I personally recommend, and not just if you are an HR leader to support your female employees, but also if you are a woman at work and you just want to find out new ways to support your mental health, to supercharge your well-being. Pip, it's really lovely to have you back here. It's lovely to see more of you guys here. Welcome again. For those of you who just joined us, we're talking about investing in employee well-being. Or for those of you women, female here among our participants, how do you invest in your well-being, in your mental health? So now, who is this webinar for, right? Well, you might be wondering. So, well, this presentation is for HR leaders, event managers, talent acquisition professionals, employee well-being benefit directors who want to boost employee engagement. It's also dedicated to women at work. And given that this month we are celebrating women, I thought that this is a great idea to share some of our best practices with you guys. So I'm going to share my screen with you, but for those of you who didn't have the chance to share, like where are you based, what kind of industry are you in, what do you do for a living? So if you can drop in the comments so we can get to know each other better, that would be really great. And in the meantime, I will share a presentation with you. Now, in the meantime, just about some kind of housekeeping here, right? So please, 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 please make sure that you are on mute during this presentation. I will make sure that I share the slides with you at the end of this webinar. Also, those of you who won't be able to stay a little bit longer, I will share the replay with you all right? If you have any questions, guys, please, please, please feel free to pop them in the chat. As you know, many of you know already, I love to be interrupted as often as possible. So pop some questions in the chat, but also your own tips, your own best practices and ideas. Because my intention, as always, is to make those webinars a forum for exchanging ideas. It's not a one-way thing. as I said before, in terms of my background, yes, I used to work in the corporate world before, but some of the best practices I will share with you here, I have introduced in organizations I have worked with before, like Wells Fargo, Circle House, Royal Bank of Canada, more than 50 global brands all over the world. I have been a keynote speaker in 25 summits. By the way, the day after tomorrow, I will be at the Tech Fair Summit. I will be giving a keynote speech. You're more than welcome to join me if you are in London. And my main goal when it comes to supporting our partners and clients is to help them to become an employer of choice within the respective industries. So here are just a few of the clients we have served before. And you can actually, if you're interested to download a white paper, the one that I mentioned earlier, feel free to scan this QR code and you will be able to download it. So I'm going to take a few seconds here for those of you who want to take a photo of this QR code. And I'm going to share a little bit about Oxygen. If you have never heard about us before, we are a health and well-being body that fits inside yours and your employees' pockets. Oxygen removes all the hassle from employee well-being planning, vendor sourcing, events recommendation, booking, and payments. So HR leaders access our highly curated library of content, while employees can actually access top-notch, engaging, purposeful, anti-boring well-being experiences. For those of you who just joined, we are discussing employee well-being and how to invest in women's well-being at work. Please, guys, make sure that you are on mute. That's really important. And if you missed the first part, we will share the replay with you, no problem. Now, can you let me know in the comments? I have one question for you all. Given that we are all here to celebrate women at work and to find out new ways to empower our female employees, how do you personally foster support and the empowerment for women within your organization? And if you are not an HR leader or you do not work in HR, no problem. Let me know, how do you support yourself as a woman, or how do you support your colleagues, your team members, women at work? In what kind of ways? And I'd love to hear in the comments below. I know, for example, some companies, they organize women's circles, or they bring an expert to talk about menopause, or they might do some yoga classes, anything at all. Feel free to let me know. Feel free to share in the chat, guys. I'd love to find out, what do you organize within your business when it comes to women's well-being? And for those of you who will share in the comments, I will go through your comments a little bit later anyway. But what inspired me to deliver this webinar today? I want to share with you a story. Some of you know this story already. Those of you who are based in London, you might know this story. It's a sad story, but it's important. So Vanessa Ford recently committed suicide. Recently, just a few weeks ago. She used to work as a partner in a huge legal firm, very well-established legal firm here in the UK. And she was a top performer. She was hardworking. She was a mom of 2 kids. And her husband, on an interview, he said that she seemed like she was perfect in every single aspect in her life. At the same time, she was overworking. She was burning the midnight oil. She was sacrificing time with her family. And deep inside her, she was feeling some kind of sense of guilt and sadness, because she She didn't have the right work-life balance. She was secretly struggling with her mental health. But on the outside, she was the perfect employee, the perfect mother, the perfect wife. The main reason I am so passionate when it comes to employee well-being is because I used to be one of those people myself. I used to be a high performer. I used to go above and beyond to deliver. I used to work in a PR agency serving like brands like Facebook and Microsoft. On the outside, I was killing it. And the inside, I was killing myself mentally and emotionally. So the real question here is, how can we raise awareness? How we can support ourselves and the people we love and our employees by taking action. And it's really, really important. I wanted to share this with you guys because it's sad, but there are so many people out there struggling the same way as Vanessa did. So I want to share a few challenges we've discovered via the study we did with the Fortune 500 companies based here in the UK. So the number one challenge is digital fatigue. Many employees, and especially women at work, this is a really big challenge for them because, yes, remote work and hybrid work becomes the new norm, but it has become more challenging than ever before to communicate clearly among our colleagues, among our team members. So, and because of that, that makes kind of things more and more difficult, right, for so many employees. So the next challenge is about maintaining connection. Now, many businesses we work with and business leaders, they say that their employees feel disconnected. They do not invest time in team bonding activities. They do not come together. They do not spend time in happy hours and things that they bring them together in a human-centric way. And it makes sense, right? Because now we have this 3-day work from home or 3-day work from the office kind of a system in place. But that makes things difficult because sometimes employees are at the office, but so many other employees are at home. And as a result, they do not have those kind of water cooler conversations, or they do not spend time, having lunch together. Those simple things matter. The next challenge is about work-life balance. And truth is that we see many perks with working from home. Don't get me wrong. I really love working from home, but it's important to acknowledge that many employees struggle with work-life balance, especially women. So we've seen there is a challenge when it comes to blending, especially among women, blending their personal and professional life. They find it difficult. And so many times the hybrid work environment can blur the boundaries. And that results in stress and reduced well-being. So we know that employees, especially those in high stressed kind of competitive industries like legal, tech, and finance, those employees in those industries are really struggling with that. The next challenge is about measuring and managing performance. So it's about rethinking how performance is assessed and managed. And it's essential so we can ensure that our employees remain engaged and motivated. The next one is all about inclusivity and equity. Hybrid work can reduce disparities, but also at the same time, we see so many new biases. For example, proximity bias, where managers tend to favor certain employees because they are in close proximity to them. So there is a need to address equity and inclusivity concerns here. And the last challenge I want to share with you is the leadership in a virtual world. And from my personal opinion, honestly, I would say that this is one of the most significant challenges. The question is, how do we address this? I will give you an example. Recently, we launched an employee well-being program within an asset management firm, big one. And the company invested a lot of money to support the employees' mental health. But guess what happened? As soon as we launched the program, none of the senior leaders communicated with the rest of the employees about the program. Nobody tried to raise awareness about the program. None of the senior leaders joined and participated. And as a result, the engagement was low. So if our senior leaders are not really active, they do not lead by example when it comes to how do we prioritize our mental health and well-being, how do we expect our employees to be engaged and motivated and driven when it comes to this topic? So it's interesting because then there are those challenges among women at work, more specifically about women. So we see that 44% struggle with work-life balance, 52% they report harassment, 51% that there is no equal pay. So we see male graduates earn 20% more than female graduates, and childcare costs, for those of you who live in London, you know that already, is at an all-time high. So how do we address those challenges? I want to share with you one of my most favorite quotes from Arianna Huffington. We think mistakenly that success is the result of the amount of time we put in at work, instead of the quality of time we put in. So the first best practice when it comes to work-life balance, I feel there is a lot of noise when it comes to that. So I'll try to keep it simple. I think that pandemic actually accelerated this work-life imbalance. And this is the main reason why we need to show greater focus to this than ever before. So, yes, work-life balance is a challenge for many women who are struggling with imposter syndrome. Why is that? Think about it for a moment. A woman who doesn't feel good enough and works from home half days of the week, right? She has a very high, there is a high likelihood for this woman to feel like she's not good enough. So as a result, she will end up feeling a kind of sense of guilt and shame. And as a result, she will try to overperform, over-deliver, go above and beyond to prove herself. And there is no way to win this battle. It's an ever-ending cycle of stress, anxiety, pressure. So, and because of that, see then, what does she do? Sacrifices her self-care, sacrifices quality time with her family members. She might end up working over the weekends. So those challenges, of course, then affect her sleep quality, her family well-being, her concentration levels, her performance, her happiness. So how do we help this woman who actually feels not good enough, feels like an imposter, how do we help her identify those signs of an unhealthy work-life balance early enough? And one of the things we do with clients we work with is that we have a diagnostic tool. There is no, it's anonymous, right? So it's, we offer this to each and every employee individually, and then they can just find out for themselves, it's like a self-test, whether they need to make changes so they can achieve a better work-life balance. And I have seen time and time again that this is really helpful, because when it comes to burnout, there is one single way you can actually overcome it. And this is to be able to predict it, to be proactive about it. And to be proactive about it is to be able to identify the alarming signs. So that's a very good idea. And I have seen that employees feel like, okay, no one is going to see this data. I'm going to do this mini self-test for myself. And then I'll understand what are the things that, what are the areas in my life where I put my well-being at risk. The next best practice is help your female employees or yourself, if you are a woman at work, or both, to regulate your nervous system. Now, why is this important? I'm a huge advocate of stress management toolkits. It's super important within our organization, within our lives, to be able to explore comprehensive strategies to integrate physical, mental, and emotional low stimulation activities tailored to support us or women in the workplace. I am talking about easy tools. I'm talking about tools where each woman can mix and match her favorites, and she can create her own anti-stress well-being toolkit. And I say that because I see many businesses, many organizations, they introduce a mindfulness stress reduction program. This is great. This might not be relevant to each and every employee. So when it comes to that, it's important to acknowledge that it's important to make space for space. And we need to create that space for women to come in a safe space, confidentially, to share their concerns, ask any questions they need to ask, and get access to the tools they need, not the tools we think are good for them. So, and keep in mind that many of us, we live busy lives, right? So we don't have a lot of time in our schedules to just take a break, to just, get a consultation with someone who knows and can advise us and guide us. So, and even when we do, have space, we don't know where to go. We don't know whom to talk to. So my suggestion is that you offer once a week or twice a month a 20-minute well-being drop-in session to each and every employee who is on a waiting list, right? So there is a waiting list. You invite an employee well-being consultant to come within your organization, and you book back-to-back this consultant 20-minute drop-in sessions, and you invite your employees to book those slots and come and ask anything. And that creates the right space, psychological safety, so an employee can go and to that expert and discuss the main challenge and what do they need. So Now, many of my the clients, the partners we work with, they say, Alex, what is a low stimulation activity, right? So you can have another day that well-being consultant to offer back-to-back low stimulation activities, and this can be simple things like a sitting meditation, a walking meditation, a body scan, some NLP practices, somatic tools to teach CBT, which is a nice tapping acupressure kind of tool which regulates our nervous system. And that can give our nerves and can show to our female employees how they can give their nerves a little break instead of feeding our nervous system with huge amounts of stimulation nonstop. And this is how we can maximize rest and rejuvenation via those low stimulation activities. You will be surprised if you introduce this within your organization, how very few employees know about those tools. Simple, practical, easy to follow tools that can self-regulate their nervous system instantly, and they do not know about it. So that's another way you can support your women at work to do the right thing when it comes to their mental health. And the last practice I want to share with you is finding purpose at work. It's interesting because every time I give a presentation about this topic, I hear like business leaders, HR leaders, being concerned about that, because many employees feel like that if they want to find their purpose, they need to change jobs, they need to change industry. Oh, let me change department, let me change the toxic manager. But how many employees actually know and understand that they can find their purpose, their true purpose, exactly where they are? Don't need to go anywhere else. And there is a powerful tool when it comes to that, which is called Ikigai. This is from the Japanese culture, really has been introduced in Japanese culture, but there's a powerful tool that can help us to identify 4 key areas in our life and what is our passion, our mission, our vocation, our profession, so we can find meaning in life, so we can find our true purpose. Don't want to take much time to explain how this journaling workshop kind of works, but it takes an hour with a good instructor, a good mindfulness coach, to deliver this workshop within your organization, your teams, to show your employees how easy it is to find meaning where they are. And I feel like when we find our purpose, it keeps us going. And when things get tough, this can be a medicine. This can be a game changer. Can be our ticket to resilience and motivation. Especially for us, women. In many cases, we don't see other women in leadership roles. We don't have a strong support system. There might be inequality within our workplace, but how do we navigate these challenges? It can be disheartening, can be discouraging, demotivating so many times. And there is a way we can do that, is by tapping into our true purpose. So these are my 3 best practices. I'll share the slides with you. I'll share some links with those tools I just mentioned. I'd love to ask, do you guys have any questions? Let me know if you have any questions in the chat. Or anything that you introduce within your business that is a game changer, your own game changer. Might be something you do as part of your self-care. Feel free to share it in the comments below. So here are just a few testimonials from some international clients we have helped before. And here we have the first event we organize this month, in-person event, is at Homeground Members Club. If you're based in London, you are invited. It's a private event, and we're going to have drinks and a panel discussion, and we're going to exchange books. And it's just for women to come together and celebrate women. The next one is the Tech Jobs Fair Summit. So I'm going to be the day after tomorrow. I'm going to give a keynote speech. So feel free to join the summit if you'd like. I'd love to meet you in person. And the next webinar we have is on the 14th of April, is on Tuesday, 8 steps to make work less stressful for your employees. Of course, you can book a free consultation call with me and ask me anything. Like a 20-minute kind of drop-in mindfulness call, like the one I mentioned on my first practice. So feel free to book a call with me if you have any questions, if you'd like to discuss something specific that we didn't cover today. Would be really happy to get to know you, to meet you guys. And I hope that was helpful. I really, based in the US, Beatrice, thank you so much for joining us. Pip, it's lovely to have you again here. So lovely. Rahil, based in London, working in HR. Rahil, such a pleasure to meet you. Client management specialist, beautiful. I'm from New Jersey, Beatrice, so awesome. So guys, thank you so much for staying a little bit longer. We ran a little bit longer today. We just wanted to give you a few bits and parts of what can be your game changer, or it can be a game changer when it comes to your employees' well-being. I hope you found it helpful. If you have any comments and any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining today. Rahil, thank you. Peep, it was lovely to see you again. And yeah, and I'd love to see you soon, guys, on any of our upcoming private events, or thank you, Konstantinos, or in any of our virtual events. We organize virtual events and in-person events, many of them complimentary for our lovely community. So you're more than welcome to join us in any of our upcoming events. Thank you, Konstantinos, for joining from beautiful Crete. And it was so lovely to have you here all. And I appreciate your time. We'll share the recording and the slides